Okay, let's start the webinar. Thank you everyone for joining. My name is Ahmed Amni. I am the VP Sales of Americas at Virtuoso. With me, Mike Golden, who is our senior sales engineer for the American region. And we will be taking you throughout this webinar today to show you the latest and brightest from Virtuoso Infrastructure System between like what we did previous quarters, and then showing you also a demonstration of the migration tool that we just built in the solution. And then feel free to ask all the questions. Please, when you ask questions, use the Q&A button, not the chat button. We would be more checking in the Q&A side. Chat is only like if we want to chat, so please use the Q&A button for the questions if you may have some. And feel free to ask questions meanwhile we are speaking, and we will be getting back to you on all the questions. We will give you an answer. Okay, so for the ones who know about Virtuoso for the first time, let me give you a bit of overview about the company. We are a global company. Our headquarters are in Switzerland. We have also Singapore and US roots. The teams that created the company were based in Singapore and US, and then we based our headquarters in Switzerland. We are one of the few companies in the world to propose a full stack solution that permits and give the possibility to our partners, service provider partners, to propose infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, AI as a service, and X as a service to their customers. So with our solution, you just need a hardware, and then on top of that hardware, you can procure these services to your customers. The best alternative to VMware when it comes to service providers, when you are a service provider and you want to propose these solutions to the market that I was speaking about, we are top number one when it comes to this, because we can give you like a fastest time to market that is available in the market, plus the easiness of use. So it's a combination of user experience, lower TCO, maximizing your profitability, and also fast time to market. And when I say fast time to market, I'm speaking also about a faster time to revenue. Some of the cloud service providers and service providers who are working with us and using our technology, some of the big names like you may heard about Acronis as a cybersecurity company. They launched a solution called Acronis Cyberframe that is entirely based on a Virtuoso infrastructure system. America Mobile is using our solution. There is Hitachi Cloud in Japan who is also using our solution that's moved from VMware to Virtuoso. There is Host Papa in Canada, Newfold in US, Shark Tech also in Nevada, who are using our solution to provide infrastructure as a service solutions to the market. Yeah, so one thing not to forget about is the way our company is designed as a company, and also from an R&D product management perspective. We believe in 5 pillars that are efficiency, reliability, performance, security, and versatility. This is what we believe are the 5 pillars that every single service provider should have in proposing solutions to their customers. So we adopt them from our side to propose you a solution that is combining these 5 pillars for you to propose to your customers in order for them to be happy, and you also to be happy and make margins and make profitability. So what is Virtuoso Infrastructure System? Virtuoso Infrastructure System is a combination of 5 components. It's the operating system that is using the solution to build that cloud. There is an orchestration, because you service providers, you need, or you system integrators, you need an orchestration to propose to your customers in order for them to orchestrate their infrastructure and manage their infrastructure. That takes me to the third layer, which is V management, helping them managing also this infrastructure. So giving them possibility to do multi-tenancy, or giving you possibility to do multi-tenancy. So you can manage the clusters or the private clouds of your customers, but also you give the possibility to your customers and end users to manage their own private clouds by giving them these service portals, etc. And then you have the automation when you want to automate, because we are in an AI world, and you will need to have these agents. You need to have all these scripts that are coming from whatever GitHub you are using in a protected system. So you need to have protected system by design. With all the protection, we have a simple backup functionality that is integrated into the system in order for you to also to protect the infrastructure of your customers, or your customers protect their own infrastructure when they are managing it. So we are bringing you an efficient and sovereign. By sovereignty, I mean that the solution can be installed on any hardware and doesn't depend on any cloud. So we are not hosting management panels or self-service portals on the cloud. Everything is an ISO image. You install it in your data center within the hardware of your choice. We have a wide hardware compatibility list. So you can choose the hardware, you choose the data center, you choose the facility and everything, and then just you download our image and then you install it on top of your hardware, and you start building your cloud and selling it as a service to your customers. And main goal for us with bringing these 5 components in a Virtuozzo infrastructure system is driving your profitability. We want every single service provider to be profitable, especially in this time where hardware is very expensive, energy is very expensive. So you are getting like all these prices increases. If you are a user of VMware, also your price tripled or quadrupled from previous renewal, and VMware is pushing you to renew on a higher prices. So we want to make sure that still in this world that is complex, to make you profitable service providers. So this is in a nutshell our roadmap, our vision for the system. Some of these components are already present in the system. Some will come in the near future, but it's like a vision of the next 9 months. So we have the VOS, of course, the OS that is orchestrating the solution that is pretty much there today. It's a combination of compute, storage, network, and identity management, because we are proposing this way of multi-tenancy. Then we need to manage also identity from a protection perspective, and storage in both sides. Our solution can work as an HCI, and we have a software-defined storage, or it can also run as a 3-part architecture where you already made your investments in storage, and we come with our solution and integrate with whatever investments you did in the past. There is a software-defined networking that is also integrated in the solution. Comes on top of it an orchestration layer, and here we are using OpenStack. So we are using an open standard that is proven by the market, and we made it better, easier to use. We made the customer experience and user experience way better than, for example, using vanilla OpenStack based on Horizon. So we made sure that the orchestration is getting great. The management component where you have like all the services management, monitoring, and the resource management. This is in the system already. The automation also from a revenue customer automation. You have all the billing APIs, billing metering. You can expose this billing metering to whatever CMP you are using. We are developing also our own CMP, and making sure that you have all this automation from a revenue perspective, from a customer perspective, and from products. And also from a protection perspective, we are having some backup tool in our solution, but also extensively working with the security and backup solutions that are out there in the market. We already integrated with Acronis. We are already integrated with Storeware, a European player. We are already integrated with Commvault. Veeam is in the works, and it should come by end of this year. So we are also working towards creating that ecosystem for you, because you already made your investments, you already have your partners, and we don't want to come and change everything for you. So we are making that effort. And our goal is to help you as service providers to propose these deliveries. So infrastructure as a service you can do today, platform as a service you can do today, software as a service you can do today, AI as a service you can do today. Database as a service, function as a service, and X as a service are in our roadmap for the next 9 months. So our goal and all of these is made in a way to drive your profitability and make it making sense for you and for your customers to make the most workloads running on top of your cloud and not the hyperscalers or not your competitors. So today we agree that hardware prices are skyrocketing, like RAM prices are skyrocketing, and now disks pricing are skyrocketing. So you will need to have a solution that helps you also not only make a saving from the software cost. Either you do it yourself using Proxmox or your own OpenStack, whatever, from a development perspective, management perspective, support perspective. But you need also a solution that helps you using a hardware and getting more with less, right? So what we are doing and what our team in R&D is doing is making sure that you can do more with less in our solution. That means that we are working always into bringing efficiency by bringing you a higher workload density per node. There is a smart memory allocation and overcommit, and you can do overcommit for memory and you can do overcommit for RAM. Our storage uses less RAM than Ceph. Even if you are using Ceph today, our storage can bring you like 5 times better performance with lower cost using our storage rather than using Ceph as a service provider. We worked always towards giving you a near bare metal performance so that the performance of the VMs or the performance of the containers is always on par and with what you want to give to your customers. Scaling is the most important feature with multi-tenancy for service providers. You need to have a system that scales easily in a fast manner. So it's fast scaling. Adding a node is very simple. You just like add a node, the node is automatically getting into the system, and then you start scaling your system with either AI workloads or GPU workloads or CPU workloads. And also you need to have a way to bill your customers and invoice your customers. So you need to have a billing metering that is into the software that helps push all the data to your billing system for you to bill correctly your customers and get your monthly invoices and monthly commitments from your customers. In order to show you how efficient we can be based on the solutions that you are using today, we've built in our website a TCO calculator that you can find on our website. So it's easier. You just go to our website where I am. It's in resources, and then you have TCO calculator. It is easy. You can choose one of the baselines that we already have, or you can create your own custom setup on whatever you are using today. Either you are using VMware, AWS, but we would be, and you have possibility to put a custom price, whatever technology you are using. It can be Hyper-V, Proxmox, Nutanix. Just you put the price here that you have, and then it will make you a calculation of what are the estimated savings with Virtuozzo. And this is not only on the software, this is taking in consideration everything. It take in consideration the hardware price, colocation, energy, resources, and Virtuozzo price to show you a real-time total cost of ownership that you may, and the gains that you make from our solution. One important milestone before having native integration with Veeam from a compute backup perspective is certifying our storage for backups. So our storage today is 100% certified as a capacity target for Veeam backups. This is an important milestone because, as I was saying, our target is to make sure that you are profitable in whatever storage that you were using today that is like tripling the price. For example, I know that if you were used to buy NetApp storage, the price minimum doubled or tripled. We want still to give you a possibility to run the same use case of backup as a service as in a cheaper and a way profitable way for you. So our storage today is integrated and certified as a capacity. You can use commodity hardware, put your HDDs, install our solution on top of it, and then you get a storage, an S3 storage that is certified by Veeam that can take Veeam backups as a target. And moreover, you can also run compute, etc., etc. So you will be making a better TCO and better profitability from that same cluster that you are today using only from that same budget that you are using today just for backup storage of Veeam. You can do backup for Veeam, but also cloud services to your customers. So you can sell infrastructure as a service to your customers on top of the same cluster, and then grow your profitability from the same hardware with the same cost of what you have today. And like one of the most important features that we came in last month and a half is the migration tool. So all our partners were telling us like we need to have a possibility to migrate our customers, but we don't want to rely on third-party softwares. We don't want to pay third-party softwares for making it easy to migrate our customers who want to move from VMware to Virtuoso. And then we, with the help of our R&D team and product team, we've built a migration tool, 100% integrated into the panels of the solution. So it's in both administration panel and self-service portal. Mike will show us this in a few, and it helps our partners and the partners themselves when they want to manage their own infrastructure to move their VMware workloads from VMware to Virtuoso with as a live migration, as a hot migration. It's not like a backup and restore. It is based on replication, where they can easily connect their VMware vSphere to the solution and then make it there. So we are starting with VMware now, but we will be bringing other solutions. So there is VMware today. In the roadmap, there is Microsoft Azure that will come in September, and then the others will follow later. But the goal is to make sure that our partners can migrate their customers from whatever cloud they have to a Virtuoso powered, or to a cloud powered by Virtuoso, in a matter of minutes, in an easy manner, in a live migration manner with like nearly zero downtime, so that the experience of the customer is great. Without further wait, I will give it to Mike to show us his magic with the migration tool, and then we take it afterwards. Mike, you can go ahead. Stop and sharing.
Okay, we'll start. I've shared my screen. You should see a VMware connection. That is where we're going to start. We have it available. It's within the environment. We have Windows, a demo Linux, and a Linux machine. So we have our VMware, and we will look at that, and they're all running and ready to go. And we will look at that. First and foremost, I'm going to actually log into this Linux. Let's just say it's my main Linux here, and I'm going to log in and add a file. So as we migrate, we know that it came over from the one side. So I'll just create a file here and a directory. We'll just make sure that they're there. So if they're in the root, we have that. So now we have our working environment. Now we need to connect to it. So we come over to the Virtuoso side. Again, this is the admin panel, which was shown by Ahmed. We're in the compute portion. You will see it in the settings. In the settings, you will see migration services, and you'll do an install. Install will create that service on the back end, and then it will become available within the panel, and you will see that right here. So you will see it's a clean, ready to go migration, and then we have a cloud. So what we do at this point, what Ahmed showed you, VMware's first. You can see Azure, OpenStack, and various others coming soon. This is the framework that is put into here as a service that we will use later. So we will go next here, and we will actually add our VMware server that we just was shown. We'll connect by the IP. We'll log in. And so I don't fat finger it. Let's make sure that it's there. We will connect. It'll show. We want to make sure we validate it. And now I'm validated. which means it's now ready to connect, and now we're ready to go from a migration perspective. So I connect to my cloud, I have my resources. When I do that, I go into the migration. There are 8 steps. We can count 9 as a summary, but what it does is says, okay, what cloud am I connecting to? In this case, was that VMware, and it's going to connect, it's going to reach out, and it's going to see those virtual machines that are available to migrate. And for time's sake, we're going to pick a small Linux that we're going to pull over. These two are there, and I'll show you those in a other component. We go through the next things. We are pulling the libraries. These libraries, the various libraries are, this is from Broadcom, and then it tells you what vSphere it connects to. It's 7.6 and greater for this various, and then you can back down. So if you have older versions, you can connect to it. And that's the libraries that we leverage within this. The next step is we go into the mapping. We map the network. This is the VMware network. And then the network we're going to put it to on the target, which is the Virtuozzo side. So we will go ahead and we will put it on the private network there. Then we use target options. The target is on the Virtuozzo side. So we are going to enable DHCP. So when it comes over, it's going to get an IP address. We could preserve IP address if need be, depending on how your architecture, but it's there. But we're going to use DHCP. The OS, it'll bring it over. I like to identify it. I know that it's Alma Linux in this case. If I have additional settings that I need to do, it will pretty much select what needs to as it comes over. But if you want to select and increase the resources, like this is a one gig, one CPU, 2 gig RAM, we could actually increase that. It'll select that and do that for us, but you have the option in the advanced to pick that. The VirtIO is the drivers on the Virtuoso side. There are also IDE and iSCSI. It's OpenStack. We prefer the VirtIO because it's built in, it's native, it's KVM. If there is a key pair that you're going to use for authentication to log in, you can bring that over, and then the machine type, whether it's the old i44FX or the Q35 in this case. We're also going to retain the credentials, so we're going to bring that over. We're going to select delete disk. Delete the VM disk is on the Virtuoso side, so when you delete the VM, it cleans up and deletes the disk. If I delete the VM on Virtuoso side, it'll leave the volume. And then lastly, if we want to assign a floating IP, an external IP. So if it was a web server in VMware, we could assign a floating IP or an external NATed IP address to it. It'll assign it. It'll put a DHCP in that private network and add it on the floating side. Next, we go in and map the storage. Depending on the storage, obviously the default storage is the store on the VMware side, and then we pick the policy. This was what makes it really nice for the hyperconverged as well, is if you have faster storage, you could actually assign it to the various storage policies. Default is the one that's on one side, and then I have storage tiers. It is Virtuoso Storage that we can assign that to. So we'll just map it to the default. Then we have scripts during the morphing, and morphing is when we're converting from the VMware to Virtuoso, which is a KVM. We have to morph it. There's a script that we can do, whether it's a Windows and a Linux. If it's very specific, we can leverage and utilize that. Then last is how we launch it. There is a replication piece and a deploy piece. There are two separate elements that we're going to use, and we can turn them on, or we can just say enable it at my own time, meaning I go in and manually do it, but I'm just going to let it go. I can shut down the VM on the source, which is the VMware side. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it up. Then I'm going to leverage some of the deployment options. One is clone disk. Instead of moving the disk across, I'm going to actually clone the disk. So it's still resident on the VMware side. It'll clone it on the Virtuoso side. Obviously, we have to do morphing because of the the difference in hypervisors. That's what the morphing does. If it's KVM to KVM, again, this infrastructure is in place. When we get to that, we may not need a morphing, and then we're going to go ahead and start the virtual machine on the Virtuozzo side. So lastly in here, we're going to actually look at some of the settings. Is this correct? And then I'm just going to go ahead and launch that. So this takes about 12 to 15 minutes to process, but you will see it will come up and it will start its process. As we look at it, we will have an overview. That overview basically takes from the source, it's what it is, vCPU, the RAM, how much disk space. It's going to enable CBT, so it's going to take an exact snapshot of it, and then what libraries I'm using on the VMware side that I'm invoking so that I can pull all that information over. Then on the target side, I'm inheriting the flavor from the source, so it's going to read the 1, 2. If it is a flavor in the Virtuozzo side, it'll use it. If it's not, it will actually create one. So it's not going to be left waiting. Again, in that advanced option, we could select it and increase it if we wanted to. Here's the disk bus, the VirtIO that we're going to use. The distribution, it's reading, it's Alma Linux 9. The PC machine, again, these are the things that I've assigned. I'm going to do DHCP. I'm going to retain the credentials, and I'm going to basically enable delete the disk on the Virtuozzo side if I delete the virtual machine. And then here's some of the networks where it's coming from a network side. You can see the details here and the IP address that it's using on this side versus the VXLAN that it's going to assign on the virtual side. So just a summary that it's going to use, and then this is for cleanup after the fact. We don't want to do that now because we're in the middle of a replication. So it's actually doing a replication. You can see up here that I have replication and deployment. It is doing its replication, and you don't have to kick off the deploy. You could keep it, and then it would take snapshots of it. So if you wanted to do that, we're just says we're going through here. It has very specific tasks that it is going through. So you do the mapping on the front end side, and what makes it nice is this is really automated. Now at this point, I've kicked it off. It is going ahead and doing everything that it needs to do. It's replicating at this point and it's deploying. You can see that it's connecting, it's attached to the worker and everything. One component that it does have when it builds, it is actually using a minion. So this is the minion. It's doing an import. You can see it creates it. Actually creates two. It creates one for the replication, and then it'll create one for the deployment. That comes from when you invoke the service for Linux, it actually creates an image, and that image is called this porter image, this vporter minion. It actually creates it. You have to build one for Windows, and it does the same thing. It launches it for replication, injects all the elements in there, brings it over, does the morphing, and does it for deployment. So those pieces will be in place, and that's what it uses. So when you're doing a replicate or a migration, you will see it create one, and then it'll go down, and then it'll create another one in the replication, in the deployment section of that. So if we go back over here, it's still replicating. One thing I wanted to show is because this is the admin console. This pertains to admin. So think of an environment, maybe you have global servers, whatnot you need from an admin perspective. So you can migrate those virtual machines from VMware to the admin. Now think of the multi-tenant piece. Now the multi-tenant piece is really nice because in here as well, we can go to a multi-tenant area. I have a demo here. It's called demo. This is the multi-tenant portion of this. And I've labeled it. And now I come in from a tenant's perspective from my tenant here, and I have a migration piece that's already in here. So if I'm helping my tenants migrate over, I would assist them log into their environment. Again, it doesn't see the cloud because this is individual. So I can add that in here from a cloud perspective. Again, VMware. And I'll just distinguish it differently. It's the same one. Let me log in here. And it'll connect. Let's validate and make sure that I'm communicating. So now I'm communicating. And then I can, as a tenant or an assistant, I can go in and say, I'm going to migrate my specific Linux, which would be demo Linux. So I'm going to bring that one over and place that inside of my tenant's self-service portal. So the migration was really nice. It's very simple. It's a 9-step process that walks through. Again, same process. I'll just walk through this same thing. Network's a little different because it is pertaining to my tenant's network. So my demo private. Again, same settings that I walk through here. Retain, delete. And then I didn't assign a storage policy. So it can't see that storage policy from a multi-tenant perspective. So if I didn't get it right, then I come back over here and say, I'm going to fix that really quick. I'm going to give them a default policy, and that would fix that. So I'm just showing you this from a multi-tenant. It's really flexible. Once I set it all up, it is there from a tenant's perspective. So now if we go back over here, probably have to back out. I'll just do it really quick. We're just doing for time for that other one to finish. Just want to make sure that we have all our pieces here. Again, walk through the pieces here. And go next. It's not refreshing. So I'd have to log back out and back in. But from a tenant's perspective, that would be, I'll just give them everything here. Let's check on the other migration from the here. We're in the middle of a deployment. We'll just jump over to this and we'll see where we're at. Let's check this first. All successful. From a deployment perspective, we have the same tasks. So because we go through and it validates, transfer the snapshot that we've created from the replication. You can see we go through here. It brings up a GUID. It clones the volumes, goes into the morphing. It brings up the vPorter again, that little image, labels it, connects to it, attaches a volume to it, so it's creating it on the Virtuozzo side. And now we're doing the morphing, which basically is converting the ESX to the KVM on that side, on the Virtuozzo side. So depending on when this was launched, it takes roughly 12 minutes to do this one, as I've been through this multiple times. Once it's finished, we will log on there. Again, it's relatively easy to set up from the steps perspective as we look at the steps that it goes through and it creates on the migration process. We have some questions in there. We can answer those. I can hit this after the fact.
Yeah, I can ask you the questions here, Mike, and you
Yeah.
can give us your light. So how can I migrate from customer remote site to customer tenant instead of default domain? I guess you just used self-service portal, right?
Yeah, you can do self-service portal, but also it's how you network it, right? There's some back-end networking stuff. We document all that, but yeah, you can do. I actually had our other remote uh, cluster actually connected to this cluster over the internet. Super slow, but again, the migration timing depends on network, the size and everything. But again, it's automated enough, and those nine sequences are really easy. If it's connected and you don't lose that connection, if even if it's remote, it will do it. It's just timing that'll affect that.
Okay, another question here. Any issues with larger VMs over the internet, they would fail with a Coriolis?
That would be it would drop a packet. That's the problem. Not knowing the timing, your latency, how it's all about the last mile usually, but it depends on your latency to that server and how big it is and timing. Because if it drops a packet and loses that communication, it will fail. So that's very important to make sure that that's in place.
So what Sean should think about before starting that migration?
Uh, Look at the path. Maybe build a separate migration network and check your latency and serviceability between the Virtuoso host and the VMware side.
Okay. A question from Claudio Biella. Um, how does Virtuoso handle network segmentation during migration? For example, I have a client with around 1,000 VMs and 300 network segments in VMware. How would we carry out this migration?
First, we would map it out. You're probably using NSXT, NSX. And you probably have layer two segmentation. We could map those over to the VXLAN side and bring those into those various networks. Again, we'd have to plan that one. That's a pretty big one, but it can be done. And then we would bring it over into the segments based on the self-service portal.
And then each time they migrate a VM, they put it on the right
Correct.
network.
Correct. And that we get to select. That's the network portion. We just once we build that out on the Virtuoso side, we would map it as we map it over. And you might ask a question. We've done 20 at a time within in a isolated environment. Again, it's your serviceability, meaning your network traffic and whatnot, and how you build this out to get the number of VMs. I'm just doing one, but we've done testing with 20, and I'm sure it can do more. It's based on traffic.
Good. What is the port requirement for replication between VMware and Virtuoso? Also, is there any compression or deduplication of the disk while replicating? In example, if I migrate 1 TB of source VM, will it replicate 1 TB from source to destination, or there will be compression of data during transit?
I don't believe there's compression. I don't think there's no compression on Virtuoso side. So it'll just bring it over as raw when it morphs and brings it over.
Another question from Sean. What log files would we investigate if a migration fails?
It'll label it in here, and then you trace that in the. I think they've got it segmented, but I'll have to get those details and send those out. I don't know exactly where they're actually logging all those details, but you will see the details in here, and then we would trace it back. I don't know if they've isolated that into a specific log on the back end, but we'll find those. I'll get those details.
There is a question from Paul. Is fiber channel SAN supported?
which side? Would if you're
On
attaching to
Virtuoso
the
side.
store on the Virtuoso side, yes, it is. And that would be part of your policy. When I dropped down and it said default, and then I had another policy. If you built the policy on the Virtuoso side, that's where it will place that virtual machine.
You can maybe even show how we can add a third-party storage in Virtuoso. Um,
Right here,
yeah.
we would add it here. We have these that are already predefined, but we are supported by the OpenStack. And then here's your drivers. You would attach to your attached here. Then that becomes a storage policy, and then you use that policy in the target from the source.
A question from Jan. How long does the deployment take? Is the VM in the VMware environment already offline during the entire time? In other words, what is the downtime per VM in the best case scenario?
Um, it's actually pretty quick, and the reason being is because if I look at this, remember I'm pulling this one over. Now I've taken a snapshot of it. It's morphing it. I'm still using it here. If it's not, if I need to shut it down, I shut it down. And then I could actually do another replication and move that over there. The best scenario is to have someone not be using it. Um, Depending on how fast your network is, how fast it clones, how big the size is, um, would determine the downtime. Because in that scenario where I could turn off the VM, I could turn it off and it'd bring it up. It depends on that perspective. It's as live as it can be. When it as soon as it's done replicating, that's what its last snapshot that it took. So whatever it takes from replication to deployment, that would be the theoretical downtime.
Question from Andres. Is it possible to do this via API? Can we schedule it to run?
It it
Uh,
can do It can, the schedule is in the roadmap to put schedules in here. The framework's in place. You can use cron jobs because the back end of this is all command line. So you can leverage a command line to do this.
okay. Then we have Deepak asking a question. If the source VM is on SATA and on Virtuoso we set Virtaio, will the driver injection will happen or we need to set the same as source mainly for Windows VMs?
It'll inject it.
So it will automatically be done. They don't need to do anything from their side.
Correct.
And Jitendra is asking if we can get the recording of this webinar. Yes, definitely. Once the webinar is
Absolutely.
finished, we
We
will
will get the recording of it.
everything. And I guess Tatiana answered the question. Okay, I have another question from Paul. What is the limit to the number of clusters and hosts in a cluster?
Number of hosts in
So
a
what is the limit of number of hosts in a cluster, and what are the limitation, or what is the number of clusters we can have on Virtuoso?
Well, the number of hosts is theoretical, depending on your infrastructure. We have several large partners with I think the largest one we have is 140 nodes in a cluster. You can have multiple clusters. Again, those are independent clusters you would have to log in. We have a cloud management platform that sits on the front end that we can actually see the multiple clusters. So it just depends on how you architect it and build it and what your backplane is. Because it is the way it's architected from a high availability, it all depends on how your network or your backplane, the faster it is, the better. That will dictate really the size of your cluster.
And another question from Paul still, what is the limit on data store size?
If you look petabytes, let's take a look here. Actually, it's in a virtual machine. So let me create here. I've got it because I've got a small cluster, but depending on the size of your back end, I've seen five petabytes is the biggest I've seen, but I think it can go bigger. Again, it reads the structure and how it leverages it. This is just a very small cluster. Any more questions? We're getting down to the end here of this finishing up here. It's injecting the cloud in it, adding the packages. It'll finish that, finish the morphing, and then actually reboot. So, is there any more questions on there?
No, not yet. There are no more questions here.
So again, from a service provider perspective, very simple. VMware side, we connect to it. It is there. Again, there's the back end. When you install it and configure it, it makes it really easy to communicate and connect to. So again, attach the cloud as we go back over to the migration piece. We are connecting to cloud. So multiple, again, multiple. The framework is in place. So if you have different infrastructures, as we do updates, they will be updated. It'll automatically update. Again, that's this piece here. The important part is that it's built in and it is part of the framework. It is, and then our development team will just add connectivities to the various clouds. So the structure is going to stay the same, whether it's VMware, Azure, OpenStack, Proxmox, all the ones that are planned, the same process. Then on the migration perspective, it is very simple. We add a migration. We connect to a cloud and then we walk through the steps. We map it. Very simple aspect of creating a migration in within the system. And it's native. I don't have very once it's in place, it is very easy to manage.
Yeah, and we would be, and as you saw in the migration, when you want to add the cloud, you saw that we are already planning for the future with all the new connectors we want to develop for our partners so that you gain profitability. I have a question, Mike.
Okay.
In Virtuoso, there is uh, well, it's a bit complex. There is one customer who needs shared hard disk to be used by cluster setup, such Windows cluster. The disk will be mounted to the active user cluster with VM. Is there such shared disks available in Virtuoso?
A separate disk.
A shared disk, a shared hard disk. And we do share, like the person asked the question as an anonymous. If you can just re-ask the question, or even if like you cannot do it in English, just do it in your language, and we will find a way to translate it. It would be easier. Uh,
Is it a global like NFS share that it's attached to, or is it just part of an extra drive to that? Sounds like it's like a separate attachment as a shared from a global. So like with Windows, sometimes you'll have the C drive and maybe they'll attach to a file share that's shared globally. That and that let's have him rewrite it and see
yeah,
if that's what he's asking.
sure.
Any other questions coming in?
No, not for now.
There we go. That's what I wanted to see. It had to add the package and it just took a little longer. Now it's customizing and it'll take a couple more minutes here and then it'll finalize. The last thing it'll do is it will clean up after itself, meaning it will be here and then you'll see one called Linux here. So it actually builds the machine, attaches, it will reboot. We'll make sure that it comes up and reboots. Then we will log in and I'll show you maybe the finale will be logging in and seeing log in with the same credentials. I know you didn't see my credentials, but I'll use the same. And then I will see the folder, the dir folder, and the file that was created on the one side. Now I set it. If we go back and look at our settings here, I did not set it to shut down, but I could shut down on the uh, VMware side, and it would actually shut it down. So we're still looking at it, and it's still up and doing its morphing here. So staging the tools, so you can see the process of what it's doing. It's basically doing the morphing. If it's going to take some time, you'll actually see the actual morphing, the timing of it. It has to stage it from that little minion. There's actually tools built in to actually do that morphing. Um, so now it's finished, and now it's going to delete. It's finished that. Once it deletes the resource, um, it should be building. So it's doing its thing here. It's going to delete. There's the delete. Now, because of that, it'll bring up a machine up on the here. Now it's finishing up the deployment piece. Let's go back over to the tasks. It's getting the optimal flavor that it's going to pick. And then it's actually the final instance is basically taking that and creating that image. Here's the definitions, making sure that that volume's available. It's all the check summing, check pieces. And last thing it's going to do is start that VM. And then it'll delete the snapshot that it brought over. So now it is finished. And we will see on this side a Linux. It is here. Now we will wait, and I will launch that. Let me bring it over here. I'm going to launch that. This is on the Virtuozzo side. Now, the last thing it would have done is when this up is finished, after it has started, initiate that start, it'll actually send the shutdown if I selected it on the VMware side. But I didn't do that, but it would do that. And it'll actually shut it down. So this is part of the transfer. This took a little longer than I anticipated. The last time I did this took 12 minutes. This took about 15, 20 minutes. Maybe there's some contention on the back end. Again, it's adjusted based on the network traffic and how the cluster is running. But it's going to finish its boot, and then I will log in. And so we know it's coming up here, and it is finished. There are no errors. So we'll just wait for the console to come up again. And it's doing a secondary boot because it's finished its processing, and then it does its final boot.
Yeah, Mike, I have some questions here.
Okay,
So will the VM comes with guest tools installed, or we need to install them after the migration to
it
V2?
injects them.
It's already done. What happens to VMware tools which are already installed on the
They will
VM?
be they are to be removed.
So who removes
That's
them?
part of the process.
We remove them automatically.
It's an automatic removal. Yes.
Another one, any roadmap for Hyper-V VMs or Proxmox to Virtuoso with this integrated migration, and will it be there any add-on cost of this service? So there will be no add-on cost for this service. As I was explaining in the beginning, our main worry is your profitability. So we don't want to charge you for you bringing other customers from other clouds or from your legacy solutions that you are using. There are plans for Hyper-V and Proxmox. As soon as we will be having Azure, Hyper-V would become easier. So we are planning to get Azure in the 8.1 release. That should happen somewhere October, November. And then on 8.2, we are thinking about what we will be bringing, but there are definitely discussion about Hyper-V and Proxmox. So these are things that are on the roadmap. Our product management is already aware about it. We know the struggle with both solutions because they are good virtualizations, but they are not bringing all the service provider needed features that are needed for the. So you always need to rely on some tool to do orchestration, etc.
And here's the virtual machine is up. Let me just log in. Same password. And let me run my two files are there. So just moved it across. I kept it up on both sides. I could have turned it off, but as you can see, a lot of hands off. I just had to wait. I had to be patient, but it was really simple. It mapped it, brought everything over, and cleaned it up, and it's available from one side to the other.
Okay, Mike, I still have two slides and we have like 4 minutes, but
I'll let you take it.
everyone keep asking questions if you still want to have questions or if you still want to ask questions. Um, what I was speaking about is data sovereignty. We understand and we know that it's becoming more and more a need for service providers to be sovereign. This is definitely supported by Virtuoso. We are GDPR compliant by default, being European company, but it's not only GDPR from a headquarters. Like all our employees are getting a GDPR training every year. So we'll make sure that development also is done in Europe. So we are fully GDPR compliant, and we make sure that we are giving a software to our partners that are fully sovereign, so that they can propose a sovereign solution to their customers. There is no dependency on any cloud. There is no dependency on any hardware. There is no dependency on anything. But your data center, your hardware, and you manage it for your customers. So, like to resume a bit, what we want to offer you as a software provider, as a solution provider, is launching faster your solutions, making sure that once you think about a solution, a promotion of your infrastructure, you can easily give it. You can easily upgrade a solution and bring new features to your customers. You can your customers should have like a super easy customer experience. Customer experience is very important. Growing your revenue and your profitability, of course. So white label ready, multi-tenant ready. There is training and certification. We can help you from a sales perspective on your go-to-market. We do with our partners speakeasies, or we do joint webinars to make sure that their customers also understand the power of their clouds, and then bringing them a powerful tool and helping you in your go-to-market, because we believe that the more you grow, the more we grow. So your growth is very important for us. It's a partnership. It's not a supplier and customer relationship. We want you to grow. And we will keep bringing you solutions and innovations for you to grow. And of course, from an operations perspective, 24 out of 7 technical support on all our support levels, from standard to enterprise. Support is following the sun. There is possibility in the enterprise support to have a dedicated technical account manager, but also you have an account manager and a partner manager who will be helping you on your daily questions if you have any questions, and he will make sure that everything is working fine for you. And we do have also managed services possibility in case you want us to help on a dedicated deployment for a customer, or you want us to help on any managed services offering that you want to propose to your customers. With this, I want to thank all of you. Thank you for making the time to join the webinar. Thank you for your time. There is a last question here from Venkat. Can we migrate Sophos virtual firewall with one NIC trunk port, groups for LAN, and one NIC for WAN?
The network mapping, yes, but we have to understand what the core of Sophos is built on as far as the kernel, because they're specific in there. If it fits within there, yes, we can do that. I believe it is proprietary. Some of their stuff's built on SUSE, but we would have to know what the kernel base is, and then we could map it from there.
Great. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us. We remain at your disposal anytime. You will receive a recording of that webinar. Myself and Mike and the entire American team is happy to help you with if you have any questions, or entire Virtuoso team if you are from other geos. Thank you for joining and see you soon. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.